Welcome back. Today we're diving into one of the biggest updates Minotaur has ever received, and this patch completely transforms how he feels on the battlefield. He's no longer just a walking heal machine. This update turns him into a true frontline monster, with real sustain, real presence, and real impact in every fight. And before we break down all the changes, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment what you think about the new Minotaur, because after hearing everything in this update, you're definitely gonna have an opinion.
So here's the deal. Moonton looked at Minotaur's kit and said, okay, this guy keeps everyone alive except himself. His old passive made your skill 2 stronger when enraged, but you as the tank, you were just tanking with hopes and prayers. And that's why this update is huge, because Minotaur finally gets durability that actually matches his identity. The biggest change is definitely the passive revamp. Every time Minotaur uses a skill, he now gains something called motivation for 3 seconds. And if he's in raged mode, his HP regen gets doubled during that time. Doubled. On top of that, every time he takes damage from enemy heroes, he recovers HP equal to 5% of that damage, plus an extra 1% per hero level. That means the more the enemy tries to burst you, the more they're accidentally healing you. You're literally healing from getting hit, and that's exactly what a tank should feel like. You're no longer this squishy healer in the middle of a team fight. You're a sustained monster.
And then we get to skill 2, the famous Minotaur heal. This also got completely revamped. Before, Minotaur used to heal himself and everyone around him, making him this full team support tank who didn't actually survive very long himself. Now the healing is more intentional. When Minotaur uses skill 2 in normal mode, he heals himself and only the ally with the lowest HP nearby. That's clutch healing. That's life-saving healing. No more spreading a tiny heal to 5 people, now you're sending a solid heal directly to the teammate who needs it most. And they even buffed the lost HP recovery from 5% to 8%, which means that when someone is one hit from dying, Minotaur gives them a real chance to jump back into the fight. But when Minotaur enters enraged mode, the skill 2 changes again. Now he heals himself and all nearby allies. So in normal form, targeted clutch heal, and in enraged form, team-saving AoE heal. This gives Minotaur way more depth in decision making. You have to think, do I want to save one person now or build up rage and save the whole team later?
And the ultimate, the first 2 hits of Minotaur's ulti now apply a 60% slow instead of 40%. This makes a massive difference because enemies will struggle to escape the center of the ulti. That means your final airborne becomes way more consistent. But they did reduce the airborne duration slightly from 1 second to 0.8 seconds. Honestly, it still feels great because the improved slow makes landing it easier. You sacrifice just a bit of knock-up time, but you gain much more control over the enemy team. You're locking people down, not just hoping they stand still.
Now, let's dive into the build.
Starting with Rapid Boot's favor, this is the core foundation of roaming Minotaur in the new patch. You're getting the movement speed he needs to rotate, to set up vision, to walk into bushes and to track enemy junglers, but at the same time, you're unlocking that gold and EXP independence from Devotion and Thriving. Since Minotaur always stays behind in gold early while he's roaming and tanking hits, these passives basically inject him with resources without needing to clear waves or compete with your laners. The more you reveal enemies, the more you stay close to your teammates, the more gold you farm passively, and that allows Minotaur to reach his tank items faster than ever. Even though Rapid Boots punishes you with lower movement after taking or dealing damage, it doesn't harm Minotaur at all, because once he commits, he's already in the middle of the fight. The real benefit comes from how fast you scale, because Minotaur with early items means earlier rage spikes, earlier survivability, and earlier teamfight control. This roaming blessing is perfect for him because he's not a hero that needs farm, he just needs enough tank stats to live long enough to reach rage and cast Minoan Fury. With this patch, Favor also adds that extra sustain for your allies whenever your heal activates, and Minotaur's second skill healing multiple allies makes the roaming blessing even more efficient. You're not only tanking the damage, you're boosting your teammates' survivability in clutch moments, turning simple trades into big advantages.
Find my people.
And this is exactly why Flask of the Oasis fits beautifully with this build.
The stats on it might look like a mage item, but Minotaur doesn't want it for the magic power. He wants it for the passive. The cooldown reduction, the HP, and especially the 12% increased healing effect synergize so well with his second skill and his rage-enhanced healing. What makes Flask of the Oasis insane on Minotaur in this patch is the shield trigger. Every time you heal a teammate who drops below 35%, they instantly get a shield scaling with your level, and that shield not only saves them, it also reduces the cooldown of your skills. That means more healing, more rage buildup, more control, and more safety during chaotic fights. In late game clashes where everyone bursts each other in 1 second, one extra shield can be the difference between your teammates surviving long enough for you to engage. It basically gives Minotaur an emergency life jacket for the squishies, and with Minotaur constantly healing during rage state, your team gets that huge defensive layer that stacks beautifully with your natural tankiness.
Then we move into Dominance Ice, and this is where Minotaur becomes extremely annoying for enemy DPS heroes. This item gives you a mix of physical and magic defense, plus extra movement speed to keep you close to the enemy backline. But the passives are what push Minotaur's value even higher. Fortress Shield gives you bonus defenses per enemy hero nearby, and since Minotaur always stands in the middle of everyone during fights, you instantly hit max stacks. You become so tanky that assassins and fighters literally waste their cooldowns trying to bring you down. And the life bane effect is crucial in this patch because it heavily weakens the enemy's healing and shield effects whenever they hit you. That's huge against heroes like Esmeralda, Yuzong, Guinevere, Fredrin, and sustained marksmen like Claude with lifesteal. Simply existing near them reduces their total sustain, making your team's burst or control much more effective. Minotaur with Dominance Ice in the new update is basically a rotating anti-heal pillar, breaking sustained comps instantly. Next is Oracle, and this item is like pouring fuel into Minotaur's entire kit. Oracle gives HP, defenses, cooldown reduction, and that massive passive that increases all shield and HP regen you receive by 30%. Because Minotaur relies deeply on healing during rage mode, Oracle multiplies the value of your sustain to a ridiculous level. Every time you pop your second skill in rage form, the heal becomes noticeably stronger. Every time Flask of the Oasis shields a teammate, that interaction becomes more efficient. Combined with your natural tank mechanics, Oracle turns Minotaur into a hero that just doesn't fall below half HP unless the enemy burns everything on him, and that's exactly what you want. You want the enemy team to waste every ultimate on you while your carries are standing safely behind you. Oracle in this patch is simply a must-have for sustained tanks, and Minotaur gets insane benefit from it because he's one of the few tanks whose healing and shielding output matters over long fights, not just quick bursts. And then we go into Radiant Armor, which completes your magic defense profile. Radiant isn't just about tanking magic damage, it's about punishing repeated magic ticks. Minotaur thrives in extended fights, and Radiant Armor gives you scaling stacks every time you take magic damage, meaning the longer you stand in mage AoE zones, the harder you are to kill. Combine that with the HP regen and the big HP pool, and Minotaur becomes nearly unkillable for magic heroes like Yves, Chang'e, Valentina, and all the poke mages that usually try to push tanks away from objectives. Radiant Armor lets you stay in front and face tank all the magic pressure while still having full rage control over when to engage. With Flask, Oracle, and Dominance already boosting your survivability, Radiant Armor finishes the set by making sure Magic Burst cannot delete you quickly. And finally, we add Chastise Pauldron, which is the perfect closer for this build. You get HP, you get physical defense, but most importantly, you get two disgusting passives. First is Chastise, which reduces the attacker's attack speed when they damage you. That means marksmen will take way longer to shred you or your team. Imagine Wanwan, Carrie, Melissa, Brody, they all lose a large portion of their DPS just because they hit you. And then you combine that with the Life Bane from Dominance Ice, and suddenly enemy marksmen lose attack speed and sustain at the same time, which makes them completely useless in front of you. And then there's Redemption, which basically gives you a second life when you drop below 30% HP, healing a massive chunk over 2 seconds. Minotaur with Rage, Oracle, Flask, and Redemption healing together turns into a complete monster. You're healing from multiple sources, regenerating, shielding teammates, reducing enemy sustain, lowering their attack speed, and gaining bonus defenses the more people surround you.
Ult is not ready.
Put all these items together and Minotaur becomes one of the tankiest heroes in the entire game in this patch. You rotate fast early, you scale independently, you protect your carries with shields, you weaken enemy DPS, you tank magic and physical damage like a wall, and your rage engages become 10 times more reliable because you actually survive long enough to wait for the perfect timing. This build focuses completely on being the unmovable frontline your team relies on, soaking all the damage while giving your team sustain, shields, and control. It works amazingly in the new update because the meta rewards heroes who can survive long fights while disrupting enemy sustain and protecting allies. And Minotaur with this setup does exactly that.
Now, in solo rank, Minotaur is perfect for random teammates because he can carry fights just by being tanky and impactful. But you also need strong map awareness to know where your allies are, spot opportunities, and anticipate any movements across all 3 lanes. Whether you're helping your teammates in the EXP lane, supporting the gold lane, or roaming to create pressure on the jungle, your presence can turn small skirmishes into full team fight advantages. His heals and shields keep squishy teammates alive during critical moments, and his ultimate locks down enemies even without perfect coordination. But timing is key to make the most of every engage encounter. Even if your teammates miss position, make risky plays, or fall behind in lane, Minotaur can absorb huge amounts of damage, disrupt enemies with Dominance Ice and Chastise Pauldron, and create space for your team to follow up safely and effectively. By constantly reading the map, predicting enemy rotations, positioning smartly, and using his skills at the right moment, he scales independently, stays alive through chaotic fights, and turns losing situations into victories, making him one of the strongest and most reliable solo rank anchors. His presence alone forces enemies to think twice before diving your team or overextending, which gives your random teammates a chance to catch up, farm, or reposition in their respective lanes. And of course, if you're playing in a trio or a full squad, it becomes even better because coordinated teammates can maximize your healing, crowd control, and engage potential. If you've made it this far, you're a true supporter. Drop the word Minobuff in the comments so I know you watched the whole video. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell me which hero I should play next.